Hey everybody. Yeah, don't mind the stuff over here. I'm doing a cut test with the Spyderco PM2 and Crewwear. It's going pretty good so far. But that's not the purple knife that I want to actually talk about today. I want to talk about something that I just got like yesterday. This is the Sencut, what is it, Etiquus? Actium. Sorry. There we go. And for those who aren't familiar, this is kind of, well, it's kind of hard to explain exactly. It's from We Knife Company, but Civivi was their budget brand. And it seems like their prices have been creeping up and up and up recently. So they decided to come out with an even more budget company. So this is the first of two. I do have the other one on the way in red, but it'll take a little while longer to get here. This guy's got a D2 blade, and it's got, both a flipper and a thumb stud, both of which are fantastically easy to use. So they got the detent right on that. It's got a pretty generous finger choil up front here. So, those of us with larger hands, or if you want to use gloves and not, completely jack them up, there you go. This one's in purple, but they also have it in, green and gray and black and whatnot. And it's got a deep carry pocket clip. And also something nice is that they have flush screws there. I'm going to actually bring this in a little bit closer because I don't really need it that high up for all of this. Like I said, this is a D2 blade. There we go. Shows it right there. And it's got a black coating on it. I do not know what that coating is. It's probably nothing super fancy, but hey, for the people who live in climates where D2 is a problem, we'll certainly fix it on up for you. It's got a lanyard hull, but there's no barrel spacer for it or anything, so yeah. Just a little bit more abrasion on your lanyard carry, if that's what you're into, and a couple of barrel spacers. Now, as far as comparing this to other stuff from We, I actually only really have one other knife from them, and that's the Civivi Praxis. Yep, this one's also purple, and it's in their 9CR 18 MOV laminated Damascus, which it's cool. But yeah, I have run into problems with the finger choil actually catching on something if I've sunk the blade really deep into something and want to do a pull cut. So it's not exactly my favorite design, and yeah, it's certainly possible that this one would suffer the same fate. But I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of got a harpoonish kind of look to it there, but it makes for a really nice thumb ramp. So, well, I don't know. Yeah, since I got the box here, you can take a look inside. There's a whole lot of nothing in here. There we go. You got a silver tail packet and a little plastic bag that it comes with. So, yeah, certainly save on packaging stuff over a lot of Civivis who still make it feel like a pretty premium product. My estimation is that these guys, which are, well, I think this one and the other one goes somewhere between 30 and 35, is they're focusing on trying to compete with Ganzo, probably on their FH series, which are anywhere from 28 to 32 or somewhere around there. So that's kind of what I'm guessing, is they're kind of competing with that. And I know the FH series hasn't really copied anything, but Ganzo as a company certainly has. So if that's a concern for you, you know, we has always been above board on all of their designs being original and everything. I can go ahead and take this guy apart for you. Nothing super interesting on the inside, but yeah, let's go ahead and do it. We got T6 for the pocket screws, or the pocket clip screws. One of which is much longer than the other because it goes into the barrel spacer on the back. So you'll want to keep tabs on that. And then I believe the rest of it's T8. It is indeed. And you'll have a screw on one side and the other because they both screw into the barrel spacer. And you got a free spinning pivot. This guy wasn't too bad this time, but the first time I did have to break out my green machine to hold the pivot from the backside so I can actually pop this guy open. And I have actually had this guy open a little bit earlier today, just because I wanted to see kind of what was inside. And also wanted to clean things out and put my own lubrication and whatnot in there. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, you can see they're still using brass cages. I shall get further into that. The barrel spacers on this thing are actually really snug on the liners. So it does take quite a bit of force to be able to yank them apart and whatnot. But you can see they do have quite a bit of skeletonization going on. There's that side, and they even have just, you know, a couple of little creative holes thrown in there. Interesting that they have this additional notch as well, kind of taken out of the liner lock side, which I guess is more of a weight saving thing because they didn't do it all the way through. But yeah, you can see that these guys are very, very tiny, but they are indeed ceramic bearings, so that's neat. And they're quite thin, which is great. They're not quite the standard size that a lot of other knives use, but yeah, they work great. It's not, you know, absolute falsetty action, but I do kind of think just a little bit of that is probably due to the blade coating. That's not, you know, the smoothest thing I've ever felt in my life. But yeah. But if I actually do that on screen instead of, you know, mostly off of it, that would probably be, you know, the most courteous thing to do. I do like that most of the hardware on this is T8. That does make me happy. Because, yeah, T6 just strips too easy. Doesn't matter how good your hardware is, that you just don't have the necessary torque there to be able to do what you need to do. And being careful certainly helps, but yeah, it's fairly unavoidable. Yeah, there's no blade play or anything like that. Right now it's a bit tighter than I think that I would personally like. Yeah. But yeah, it's ergonomically pretty comfortable. The clip there at the end doesn't really create so much of a hot spot or anything back there. It just kind of melds in with your finger pads. So that's good. I do have to say that the jumping up here for the harpoon sort of thing kind of almost forces your hand up into using the finger choil, which, like I've said before, I'm not the biggest fan of using forward choils, especially not ones that come straight up to a blade. I'm a little bit more comfortable with Spyderco's versions of them, even though that does mean that they don't really have much in the way of a sharpening choil. But I feel a lot more secure knowing that my finger isn't, nanometers away from the blade. So, yeah. It's a pretty interesting thing overall. With all the skeletonization and whatnot, it does feel a lot like some of the FH series from Ganzo. Some of the thinner ones, not like a super thick boy like the 91 or something like that. But yeah, it certainly seems right in that ballpark. The texturing on it isn't bad. It's not nothing's Emerson level of grippy, but yeah, it's pretty similar to the Civivi kind of G10 that they got going on there. And Spyderco stuff is it's a little bit grippier, as they and this one's a little bit tamer than I remember my original Menix 2XL being, but that's all super nice and smooth since I've worn it for probably about a decade. So yeah, for a knife right around the $30 mark, it's pretty decent. Nothing super exemplary, but interesting that it's kind of in that price range and competing with Ganzo, but with probably a little bit more integrity as a brand. You get let's actually get on to millimeters here. Yeah, so you got basically like a 3mm blade going on. So it is nice and slicey. It's a little bit thinner than I actually anticipated when I pulled it out, and I'm happy for that. I do like a good, nice, slicey blade. And I can't quite tell, but it does feel a bit like there's a hollow grind to this blade. Usually I can easily see a hollow grind blade by kind of looking at reflections, but since this doesn't really let you do that, I gotta go by feel, and it certainly feels like right here at the shoulder it drops off pretty quick, which to me feels like a hollow grind. But yeah, that's an interesting little piece, and I'm happy to have myself another purple knife. They make me happy. So, alrighty. Well, as always, I've been Jerry. This has been A New Knife Company. And hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day, yo.